Hey, Paul.
Hey guys,
What's happening, man?
all good, man. Another
It's Friday. At least.
Friday, yeah.
So last week was all about sort of pro South Africa. Things are rosy here. Things are looking good.
Yeah. George, East Rand Mall,
And then this week it's sort of business as usual.
yeah,
And with ATNS up to their usual tricks of trying to cripple the aviation industry in South Africa. It's not a joking matter.
no, it's actually been a hot topic this whole week. In fact, what a balls up ATNS has been.
In fairness, it's been a hot topic for a while. We did that South African aviation crisis episode, I don't know how many months ago.
Yeah.
That was also to do with ATNS.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
It's just got worse.
Yes.
It's just got worse.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know what we're talking about, so earlier on in the week, seemed to have affected Fly Safair probably the most. Probably they got the most flights. I assume them and Link. But was it George and East London they couldn't get into?
Yeah.
Because the approach facilities or the procedural approaches that are supposed to be, what's the right word? Sort of not calibrated, revised, and the ATNS haven't managed to get to that, and therefore the CAA had to pull those approaches. You can't, you're not able to use those approaches, and if the weather's poor, then you've got no chance of flying an instrument approach into a particular airport, which means you can't get into that airport, and there's diversions leading to a massive knock-on effect for the airline. The passengers are screwed over, and probably not just on that day, probably carrying on for the next couple of days. So that's where it started in the week, and then last night with this news that the TMA in Johannesburg is uncontrolled. I mean, the biggest airport with the most inbound flights is dealing in the
This Joburg is our, what do you call it? Our hub spokes.
yeah.
It's our hub spoke airport, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't do us any good on an international level whatsoever.
It certainly doesn't paint us in a good light. And I think the airlines are obviously, they must be scrambling a bit. Kirby Gordon put something out on LinkedIn just trying to explain this whole thing, because it's a difficult one to explain to passengers, why
passengers default to blaming the
they
airline.
blame the airline. I bought the ticket from the airline, but ultimately it's got nothing to do with the airline. The airlines can only operate within their realm of legality, and they rely on certain things or certain other departments, in this case ATNS, to do their job, which just hasn't been done.
I can imagine the airline bosses as well cannot help but feel pissed off about it, because ATNS charges,
They're exorbitant.
They ain't cheap. I mean, you get charged for asking for weather, for entering airspace. You get charged for just about anything. So it's not like they're doing the service for free. And
Definitely not.
As with any state-owned enterprise, the question always goes, but where's the money going?
Yeah,
so these things going.
This falls under Department of Transport, ATNS falls under Department of Transport.
Government.
And obviously responsible for ensuring the safety and efficiency of air traffic in the country in line with international aviation standards. ATNS operates under strict regulations and is held accountable by the South African Civil Aviation Authority, just like airlines and airports. Their responsibilities include regularly reviewing and renewing flight procedures to keep up with changes like updated terrain information and to ensure the highest level of safety. However, ATNS has fallen behind on these necessary renewals, leading to a backlog. As a result, South African Civil Aviation Authority has had to suspend certain procedures due to non-compliance, of course, prioritizing safety. Now, of course, it's touching on November now, and a very, very busy holiday season ahead, and this is simply not going to be fixed before the holiday season.
No, and I feel for the airlines, because the airlines, I think, are all doing their best to gear up for the holiday season, get ready for it.
They rely
I know that they've all told all their crews, stuff you're not taking any leave. Some airlines are adding up to 800 extra flights for the season, and now you have this. And then to just top it all off, we're going to be smack bang in the South African summer season with weather that doesn't make flying conditions
any easier. Well, this has just come out, so reading off my phone here. Fly Safair advises conservative planning for flights this holiday season. The number of delays that we have had due to the ATNS services issues have actually come up from about 12% in 23 to just over 26% in 24, says Kirby Gordon. It goes on and on. Basically, what it's saying is, travel a couple of days early because it's likely that you're not going to get to your destination on time, at least.
Time to spare. Go by air.
Get that high ace of yours, China. I'm sure that high ace you hired is available.
No, look, there's plenty of them available. Look, the roads are lacquer. It's a shit thing to drive, and toll roads are expensive. But at least you stand a chance of getting to your destination.
Yeah, it's not something that you want to be talking about on your premier South African aviation podcast. Rather go hire a high ace than travel down to Cape Town. But it's not good.
It's going to take you the same amount of time to get there. So
it is. A valid comment from a Fly Africa member I saw the other day. One has to ask why ATNS are falling short of their stakeholder expectations on so many levels. Navigation and approach procedure validation and calibration are essential within a modern air transport system, yet ATNS has failed to meet its responsibilities. It's not the fault of the guys and girls who are in the hot seats. It's most certainly the fault of those executive management members at ATNS. So it's certainly not digging at the
controllers
themselves and the people that are grafting hard on an everyday basis. Yeah. It's got absolutely nothing to do with them. And it's a little bit like when we talk about SAA. It's not the
pilots, not the cabin crew.
It's not the guys that are actually doing the graft. It's they're
the people that are trying to keep the operation going.
They're the ones that are keeping the operation going. Yet these big decisions that are made in the big boardrooms, and that is where the problems are happening, because the right decisions are obviously not being made there. Right. And it's a very, very, very sad state of affairs. So how does it get fixed? This is not we worked for an SOE. Things move according to Phil Meredith at a glacial pace. Meaning that everything takes an absolute age. The most simplest decision that you would have in a normal private sector business that gets made immediately based on the interest of the business and the employees, of course, of that business. That just doesn't happen.
No.
There's red tape galore. There's a million hoops to jump through. And particularly if there's money involved, because who got the tender to get this thing fixed, and then it pisses off, a whole bunch of people, and then it goes back to tender again. So this is a stuff up. It's an absolute colossal stuff up.
Yeah. Thing is, it's also, like, say an airline goes down, things can get picked up and passengers can get moved again by the next airline that comes along.
Yeah,
if your air traffic navigation services infrastructure collapses, who just quickly pops in overnight to replace that?
Yeah,
doesn't just happen like that.
You're right.
So
if your airline does stuff up, you've got those other options of jumping on another aircraft,
or you can hire your hires and go something. But
I say to you,
this is concerning.
I said to you before we started the show this morning, we always see it from an aviation perspective, of course, but this will affect the South African economy on quite a high level. If you flying in from Cape Town last night or overseas, and now you miss your meeting on Friday morning, and it has an effect. It has a major effect, and over time, you're just going to find that no, we're not going to go to South Africa because there's a chance that you don't get there.
Yeah,
and people pull out, companies pull out, and they pull out their capital, and they decide that they don't want to be associated with us.
And some people might argue, but it's in the middle of the night, there's nothing really happening, there's not that many airplanes flying around. you'd actually be surprised at how much activity is bombing around out of Joburg in the middle of the night. You got your cargo operators.
It starts in the middle of the night, pal, but then it filters through. Then it's going to be, next.
I used to fly for a medevac operation. I mean, we only ever flew in the middle of the friggin' night. So there's a lot of flying that does happen. And, I think that's why there's such a massive amount of concern around this. It's a serious issue that's got to get fixed soon.
Yep. Not holding my breath. All right, staying in the Republic. South African Airways is expanding its partnership with SunExpress by leasing 4 737-8 aircraft for the peak season. Whether they will be operating or not, we'll see. Increasing its flight capacity by 20 daily flights. The deal will enhance SAA's competitiveness in the local market and improve its regional and international connections. Additionally, SAA and SunExpress will collaborate on a specialized training program for the cabin crew members.
The Turks are coming back to exercise their South African thunderstorm muscles again. Remember last year they were here? And I think those guys got a bit of a surprise in dealing with our weather bombing in and out of Joburg.
Yeah. I saw a couple of comments there about good luck with the weather. Sean Mendes wrote there, apparently these guys have a seriously competitive ACMR rate.
There were a lot of varying opinions on that thread.
There were varying opinions.
Some I totally agree with, and I think everybody had a good point.
Both sides.
Yeah,
let's go through both. What are both sides of the story?
So I think a lot of people are like pro South African Airways doing this.
Because it's like a good deal. It's a quick, easy way, efficient way of adding capacity.
Sort out your capacity while you need it, and then when you don't need it, it's like renting a couple of areas and some crew and get the job done. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there's the other faction that sort of are offended by the fact that they're taking jobs away from South African pilots. The truth is, there's no South African operators that have the aircraft available to assist SAA with this. So it's not really taking jobs away.
I also probably don't think so. And there's probably also, there are not many South African pilots left without graft at the moment, so they're working.
No, exactly.
They're working anyway, so there's not a huge pool to steal from.
Most South African pilots are trying to get off over December. Because we want to buy and drink beer.
So they're probably welcoming the Turks.
Bring the Turks.
Anyway. More Spuries 2.0 news. The Zimbabwe Environment Ministry plans to seize SAA's assets over $2.4 million debt, despite Zimbabwe owing $59 million in blocked funds. SAA. That sounds like that's a real African problem, I'm sorry to say. SAA has proposed offsetting the debt against these funds, but the ministry declined and proceeded with legal action. SAA remains hopeful for resolution and continues to seek an amicable solution.
I think somebody in Zimbabwe needs a new abacus. The next one is funny though, and this is, I almost want to say, how good is your sense of smell, Kaz? Huh?
I don't know.
Can you smell the bullshit in this next one?
Well, this is, it's not even bullshit, it's just a lie.
Yeah, blatant.
It's just, this is, what does Trump say? That's fake news. Go for it.
So South African Airways, according to MoneyWeb, is debt free. But needs a capital injection to regain its former status. This airline is exploring options for a financial buffer and is open to an equity partner, though not interested in privatization.
So what does that mean?
Bullshit.
What does that mean? You're open to an equity partner, but
So they're focused on growth and they're planning to expand their aircraft fleet and routes and everything. So same old story. Typical SAA, bluffing it. I mean, of course you can be debt free if you haven't published financial statements for like the last decade or whatever. Well, so you can spill whatever bullshit you want out there.
That's why every time there's a comment about SAA, even if it is like even let's take the SunExpress thing, we've just spoken about it.
It's
probably is a good. It is probably one of the better ideas SAA has ever had. Let's face it. Get in an operator, they can carry the packs. If it is at a good rate, great. But you're inclined to look at these things with a very, very suspicious eye based on the fact that no one trusts South African Airways.
Yeah.
And that's what it all is. And then when stuff like this comes out, you look at it and go, but I mean, if you're willing to actually, even put that on a piece of paper, I don't know, Paul. It just
you're not free if you owe Zimbabwe $2.4 million. By the way, but
and that's only Zim.
No,
they're trying to get rid of their Heathrow sell their Heathrow slots as well.
Yeah. Those things are worth a fortune. Apparently.
They're worth a lot. They're leased out at the moment, I believe. One to BA and someone else, but that would be a way to get in some money.
Yeah, it's a serious amount of real estate to sell though, because I mean, those slots you don't get them so easy, and you would think that. I don't know.
I don't think they've got any intention of going back to Heathrow. I just, so what would be the benefit of holding them? Do they go up in value each year? I suppose they do.
Who knows? Maybe someone can comment on that. One of the guys that are a little bit smarter than you and I when it comes to how slot time real estate actually works.
Yeah. I always battle talking about SAA because of, like with the ATNS things as well. Some very, very good people working at ATNS.
Yes.
Some very, very cool people working at South African Airways. So this is not a dig at... we had it, and it's like an awkward thing on the pod. It was like this during the pandemic when we were talking a lot about Mango. See, some of the Mango guys are really miffed at me for like saying, but I'm not... You're not commenting on each little segment of the company. You're commenting on it as a whole. And obviously the workers, the pilots, the cabin crew, the ground staff, they're totally separate from
those that
from
know
the decision makers there.
Very well. No, those that know us very well will know that we're not having a dig at the personnel. I mean, we're all for them. And the thing is, I think what pisses us off the most is you actually want to be pro SAA.
Yeah.
You want to be pro ATNS. You want to be proud of it, like we often are. But I mean, our South African sports, that's who we are. We're pro South Africa.
It's much easier, Paul, to be pro stuff. Much easier. Even on the pod, it's like you get into a bit of a roll with it, and it's nice. It feels natural to be pro stuff. I like that whole thing about you must be pro stuff.
Absolutely. But you used to say often as well when we spoke about it many shows ago. Remember being overseas and you'd be like in the terminal at Frankfurt and you like look across the window and you see that South African tail on the apron there, and it like always gave you that like fuzzy feeling like that's my ride home. That's
and it's real.
It's real. You want to be, but I mean if.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Do you know that one? There's that one saying. We're inclined to associate with the negative of things. Like if you go, let's take the Apple-Samsung debate.
Apple all the way, but...
Yeah, but you don't have to be anti-Samsung to be pro-Apple.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, their way of... You're seeing it now with... I'm not going to mention names because this show will get pulled, but the election... you've got the easiest form of defense is to attack.
Yeah.
Instead of coming up with your own ideas, you just attack the other side.
It's just human nature.
It is, but it's a bad way of going about your business. And I suppose that's why it is easier to be pro stuff. One continuing again with South African Airways, Carla Da Silva, SAA's head of sales and marketing, resigned after facing civil and criminal complaints for alleged industrial espionage against her former employer, Airlink. The investigation into her and other SAA employees will continue despite her resignation. SAA has not officially commented on the resignation or taken action against the implicated individuals. So this there was a bit of smoke with this a while ago.
Yeah.
I guess moral of the story here is don't pick a fight with Roger. Roger's going to be taking Drickus's place in the UFC. It's an important part of business. You cannot steal intellectual property. You can't take info from one company to another. It was a story that came out this week they were talking about Formula One. Which did you watch last week, by the way?
Yeah, look, it was.
So you made a comment last week. Yeah, I'm not supporting Ferrari. They get a 1-2.
Oh, shit.
But I was listening after the race on Sunday, and they were saying, what happens in Formula One is Red Bull are being quite heavily investigated at the moment. But it's also because Red Bull have lost a lot of their sort of a couple of top engineers and things like that. They've gone to other teams. So, of course, when they go to another team, they take information with them. And this is how high-level stuff works. So it is going to happen, but I just suppose you have to do it in a very clever way. Don't take your USB stick with a whole lot of Airlink information and go plug it into Spuri's computer, if they have computers there. But
good question.
But so it's not good. We'll keep an eye on that story.
Yeah.
E-visas.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one because it's another sort of part of our system that is letting
us down
a hell of a lot. We know it is, people trying to get in here to do business, do training, whatever the case may be, struggling to get visas.
They can't come.
Home Affairs is a fuck up in that sense.
Yeah.
And they need to fix it. But at least there's someone in the department, old Leon Schreiber, who's trying to do something about it. So
it's a big problem again. It affects the aviation industry. It affects everyone,
tourism.
Every level. It needs to be fixed. The visa process and what we're doing here in South Africa is simply not good. And they want to host an F1 GP. Imagine hosting big events. Why aren't we hosting big events? Last big event was this Football World Cup.
Yeah, nothing since then, really.
14 years ago, nothing. I mean, rugby, we should be hosting Rugby World Cups.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's crazy. And you would think, things like this, of course, they have an impact.
Yeah, of course,
man. They look at the IRB and these people look how much money they can make and who's going to go there. Shit, if you don't have an aviation infrastructure because it's been let down by, one of the regulators, and you don't have a good system of getting in people to go watch the games, then it's like, no, it's easier. Let's just go to France again or go to Australia.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening.
Look, I mean, in old what's his face, Gayton McKenzie's defense, he's going out there. He's having a big fat jaw at all these races.
I like Gayton. Look, he's spending a fortune.
but he's on the right track. He's going out there trying to get it. I mean, he's all for the UFC getting here. F1.
Lewis Hamilton's very pro getting an F1 race in Africa. So but again, you have to have the infrastructure in place.
And that's where it's weird with South Africa because like our tourism and our hospitality and all of that is geared for that.
Yeah,
we want it. We can certainly do it, but these departments that let us down are a bit of a shit show.
Such a pity.
Yeah.
Right, going a little bit further up the road, Proflight Zambia, one of my new favorite airlines. They just got their 5th CRJ 200, expanding its fleet to 12 aircraft. The addition will help the airline enhance its regional network with more routes and increased reliability. The CRJ 200 is valued for its fuel efficiency, passenger comfort, and suitability for regional flights. Would you agree with that one, Paul?
Totally, man. So one of the best areas out there. Well, 700 is better, but the 200 still got a...
I've got a feeling we might be seeing more of the Proflight crew in the coming months. Yeah.
Certainly hope so.
American Airlines will lease 14 CRJ 900s to its regional subsidiary PSA Airlines. These aircraft will be integrated into PSA's fleet in phases starting this month. Each new plane will also offer high-speed satellite Wi-Fi for passengers, and staying with that high-speed satellite Wi-Fi, Qatar operated their first 777 flight equipped with Starlink high-speed internet on the 22nd, a couple of days ago.
Good news.
Starlink on planes. It was quite cool. I think they did was it with Musk? I don't think it was with Musk, but they did a video call with some high-level Starlink, obviously, and the Qatar CEO. So you can do a video call on a plane. It's kind of cool.
Hey, man, that sorts out a lot of things.
I dig it.
If you are running late, like say for instance, you can't get to Joburg because ATNS has gone down to Class G airspace and you got that meeting to sort out. If you're on an airplane that's got Starlink, you can sort out that business meeting ahead of time while you're on the area.
You can do the business meeting on the area.
Yeah. And then when you land, just go straight to the jaw, you know?
Straight to teasers.
Yeah, something like that.
Frontier and Spirit Airlines have reportedly resumed merger talks amid Spirit's financial troubles. So they heard us on the pod last week. And they've decided to get hold of Spirit. The merger aims to create savings and maintain their low-cost business model. Previous models were disrupted by JetBlue's failed acquisition attempt. Spirit faces potential bankruptcy, and recent changes have not stopped their financial losses. I don't see that one ending good, but at least if they can merge there, it'll be good news.
More
Boeing news.
Yeah, Boeing news is like,
I'll give you all the negative stories.
yeah. I was like, why am I getting all the crack stuff? Yeah, it's like talking like
I'll take the CRJ stuff. You take the.
So more bad news for Boeing. They've reported a $6.17 billion net loss for the third quarter of 2024 due to a strike and pre-tax charges.
Just stopping you there, I've got a solution for Boeing.
Yeah.
This Spuri's 2.0 accountant that managed to get them debt-free.
Yeah.
They
can sort them out.
I'm sure that oak's going to be headhunted by Boeing.
Watch.
They'll get rid of that 6.17,
Exactly.
no problem.
Look, I'm pretty sure they're all smoking the same Google Twigs. Shit. I mean, the sad thing is that they're talking about cutting 10% of their workforce. So I hate this when it always ends up affecting jobs. That's just not cool.
And there's the strike's still ongoing, I suppose.
Strike news.
33,000 workers. Boeing one, I mean. Sorry. Yeah.
Strike news you're talking about. That's
in your favorite neck of the woods.
Qantas in Australia striking for 24 hours due to stalled negotiations over wage increases. Well, boots on the ground don't want to pay the engineers.
Speaking of boots on the ground, the next one there, Qantas has apologized to workers who were illegally sacked during the pandemic to save costs by outsourcing jobs. An employment tribunal ordered the airline to pay compensation to affected workers, beginning with $170,000 to 3 individuals. Qantas also faces a $100 million penalty for selling tickets on cancelled flights and has established a $20 million fund to address customer grievances.
There was a YouTube video out the other day by some, I can't remember his name, but it was all about how Qantas has lost a lot of credibility among the Aussies.
Oh, really?
It used to be like they were quite proud of their national carrier.
Bit like us.
But they pissed off for them.
Yeah, they did. They didn't handle the pandemic well, did they?
No.
Australia in general. It wasn't Ayoba there.
No, it was not the best.
There was a lot of bullshit there. I hope one day all that comes out.
Yeah.
Been very hush hush.
Yeah. But anyway, look, we don't want to.
Depends who wins this next American election. I think we'll hear more of the truth if certain blonde-haired gentleman wins. Yeah. A Delta Airlines employee was charged with stealing and selling over $106,000 worth of airline property on eBay. I didn't even know eBay was still a thing. He was arrested after Delta's internal security identified his eBay account selling missing inventory. The dude admitted to the theft, saying it started simply but escalated due to greed, and he faces 20 years in prison if convicted. Not a good idea to steal stuff from your airline and then sell it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or something.
Yeah.
So your boss checks that, hey, he's got a couple of HSIs missing in his inventory there, but then he finds one on eBay that looks very similar to the one that's missing.
There was a lot of that happened at SAA and at
There
Saks
was.
in the day. Remember?
Yeah.
Wasn't there like there were like tires? There was an engine or something. someone hiked a fucking engine.
Yeah, I think with that, the engine didn't actually exist, but on paper it did. And yeah, again, this is the creative accounting that we can come up with.
Shit.
You can create an engine out of thin air. That Ilyushin Il-76 cargo plane shot down. Do you see that one the other day?
Yeah, this was pretty sad for the crew, but I mean, you know, it just goes to show what a bunch of numpties are sitting on the ground there because they shot down a friendly.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. So this cargo airplane was on charter and was actually delivering supplies to the troops on the ground. And these, like, you know, checked through the long lens. They thought it was an enemy, and then they shot him down.
Oh, that's flipping stupid.
Dickheads.
Yeah. With all the conflict going on around the world, unfortunately, I don't think that's the last one we see.
Yeah.
Indian Airlines have faced numerous false bomb threats on social media, leading to unnecessary flight diversions. Despite these threats being hoaxes, airlines continue to react with emergency measures, causing major disruptions. So this article actually went on to say that they're going overboard. So they get a bomb threat and then they pull out all the emergency stops and, you know, everything comes to a grinding halt. Article goes on to say, like, these hoaxes are so common in India that, I mean, do they have to do that each time? But I suppose they do.
Yeah, you got to take it seriously.
You got to take it seriously. You can't.
What happens one day when it's not a hoax?
Yeah, you're crying wolf situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't see any other way. But it's such a big problem there.
It's disruptive. There was an article last week that came out where they said they'd convicted it. There was a teenager. They'd found out it was actually a teenager that was responsible for a large part of these hoaxes. And it was all because he was trying to get back at a mate of his for money that he owed him or something like that. I'll try and find the article and we can put it up. But yeah, that's what it's about. But it's such bullshit, eh?
Do you ever watch on... now I go through these YouTube rabbit holes every now and again. Some of them that interest me are these hackers that manage to hack the guys that are
hack the hackers.
Yeah, hack the hackers.
That's
I think
funny.
Kit Bo, the one guy's name is. And this oak got into the CCTV system of this Indian company, because a lot of this stuff happens in India. The Indians themselves are very embarrassed about all these scammers because they're all over the place and they run like actual businesses. But this oak actually hacked into the CCTV system. He could see these guys actually working on it's well worth a watch. The guy changes his voice. He sounds like an old. It's actually flipping funny. So Kit Boa, I think is.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of.
There's a few.
Hilarious. I mean, the surprise on the hacker's face when he's getting hacked, like, you know.
Yeah, when he sees that shit, his computer's now being hacked. It's priceless because he's got the bloody webcam on. It's actually bloody good. I've got not a productivity advisory, but a recommendation for you. I don't know if you've been watching much Netflix lately. I haven't, but I got into something the other day that I really enjoyed.
Is it?
The Vince McMahon documentary.
I saw that on there, but I haven't had the time to actually have a look at it.
The whole professional wrestling thing is such an amazing story. I mean, I loved WrestleMania and that when I was a lighty. But that story is quite remarkable, and Vince was obviously, his dad was behind the initial start of it, and then he took over. So it's documentaries, 6 episodes. It's really, really cool. And for those sort of aspiring entrepreneurs and that out there, it's a nice one to watch because you see what battles you have to go through and how hard you have to fight to actually find success. It's not just going to be given to you on a silver platter. Yeah. There's like battles around every corner and little decisions that you make that ultimately impact the whole direction of the business. It's very, very good. It's very well done. So if you got time over the weekend, give that Vince McMahon doc a watch.
Check it out.
It was well worth it. Some additional stuff, Paul. It's a Wunderbaum Air Show tomorrow.
Yes.
Saturday.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to cruise along there. It's not far from. Oh, it is. It's not. You're not too close there.
It's around the corner-ish from me. I'm there. I'm
You're
close
on that side of the curtain.
Yeah. I have to.
I need a passport to go there.
Yeah, exactly. My passport's full of stamps.
And on a positive note, you and I, we got over 10,000 subscribers now, bro.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's actually quite like
maybe go
really
back
cool,
to trying to hit 1,000, and then it sort of hovered there for a long time, and then this year it's boosted up quite nicely.
It's quite remarkable because in the beginning, but do you remember trying to get to 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah,
the stunts we pulled to get there.
Ryan basically used to be at a party or something and then hijack people's phones to subscribe. And you'll see like this big boost of subscribers. You got 10 subscribers in one day. It's like, shit, Ryan must have got someone's phone. But yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with that. If I'd said if we had a goal at the beginning of the year, it was probably to try and hit 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So to hit 10, I'm very, very chuffed with that.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. Yeah, so, well, let's hold out for the next big number. Should we
100.
Should we aim for 100,000?
100's the next one. So help us get there.
If you hit 100,000 subscribers, do we get one of those fancy YouTube things that we hang up on the wall? Like
we can stick it over there.
Oh, one of those silver ones.
So yeah, we'll get a silver one, but then like $1 million, you get a gold, and then a platinum. Yeah, it's a whole story.
Yeah,
they don't have one for 10,000, unfortunately. But
can make a fake one and just put it.
Yeah. But I'm very, very chuffed to have done that. So thank you to everyone that has subscribed.
We do appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. And something else to watch early on will be Sunday morning is the UFC. Hamzat Chimaev, Rob Whittaker, and Max Holloway, Ilya Topuria. It's going to be legit. So, awesome. UFC is always a good watch on the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Makes your Sunday. Start your Sunday off nicely.
Yeah.
And then Formula One as well.
Yeah, where's the Formula One now?
Mexico this
Mexico.
weekend. So it's all about Checo this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to say a word about who I'm supporting or not.
No, whoever Ryan supports backfires.
Yeah.
So who are you supporting?
I'm going to support Williams this weekend.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, thanks, Paul. It was a cool show. And yeah, to all the pilots and cabin crew out there that are affected by the disruptions, I hope it doesn't affect your weekend too bad. And to all the passengers probably stuck in a shitty destination when your family is somewhere else because you can't get there.
Yeah. Look, if you're
hope
delayed,
you find your way back.
And you got an hour to kill, download the podcast and listen to a few episodes.
That's it.
100%.
100%. Have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
Bye for now.